wanted to go through my kit. The pack I carried for 8 days doing the Cranberry Lake 50 plus some extra side trails and mileage. A friend and I went up, took 8 days to do the trail and some extra things. I've had a lot of questions about what I carried. My total pack weight with 8 days worth of food and my bottles full of water was 36 pounds 2 ounces. My food weight was 11 pounds. It was just over 11 pounds for all 8 days worth of food and whatnot. But anyway, so my pack is the Osprey Exos 58 liter large. It is hot here today and bugs. You'll probably hear chickens, traffic, whatnot. But anyway, I'll start on the outside of the pack. I have my my Crocs I wear at camp. Didn't wear them for any water crossings. We only had one day where we had to cross beaver dams. It was the next to last day on the trip, and we got soaked up to our knees, but then we dried our shoes at a campsite around a fire. So I wore those only at camp. I could have used them at water crossings. The beaver dams have a lot of suction when you step into them, so I probably would have lost them. I just found it easier to stay in my shoes. I was wearing Keen Target 2, I think it was. But anyway, so I wore those at camp. I took a sit pad. I also used this for standing on when I was changing next to my hammock. This thing just, I've used it as a windscreen as well around my cook kit. But it comes in handy and it weighs like nothing. I keep my tarp. I was hammock camping, so I keep my tarp in a mesh snakeskin, and then I stuff it in the outside pocket so it's easy to access for quick setup. And then if it's wet, it can sit out in here and somewhat dry, but it doesn't get everything else wet that's on the inside. So I just stuff that in there. It's already on a ridge line and everything. And I use the War Bonnet Superfly with a tarp pole mod, tent pole mod, and that's what these two poles are for. You could use walking trekking poles, but I just didn't use trekking poles on this trip, so I carried these. Didn't bother me carrying them, honestly, for the weight. And I was thankful to have the tarp with the doors because when we went out, we weren't supposed to get any rain, and we ended up getting hit heavily a couple nights. And with the down under quilt, I'd rather not have to worry about that getting wet and then worrying about trying to dry that out on trail. One of the nights the wind and rain were so bad that the guy, my friend that was with me, the rain started actually coming in his vent on top and getting inside, so he had to close his vents down. But with this tarp, and I'll add pictures into the video, with this tarp setup, the rain never got to my underquilt. I would rather have carried the weight of this every time than any of my smaller tarps and not have to worry. But anyway, because it wasn't supposed to rain, I just took a lightweight emergency poncho made by Frog Togs. With the amount of rain we got, I got away with it because I have a lightweight Go Ruck jacket that's water resistant. It's a windbreaker and water resistant. So one of the days I wore this and over my pack, but then another day that we got a ton of rain, I just actually wrapped this around my pack and wore the Go Ruck jacket. But I am going to switch to wearing a War Bonnet Stash rain jacket, and then I have a Dyneema rain cover for my pack coming from Dutchwear, just to have a better, lightweight but better setup, because I really just didn't care about relying on this. But it worked for what I needed. I tested out and used this Rhenology solar panel. It worked all right. I honestly wouldn't bother carrying it again, most likely, just because you're relying on hoping you're getting good sun. I had a 10,000 amp battery pack, a Rev power, I think it is, and that lasted the whole time. I charged my phone a little with this, and I charged that power pack a little bit, but in the 8 days running my phone on airplane mode most of the time, I sipped battery power, and then I shut my phone off at night just to save. And I just didn't need it. My battery pack did not completely run out. I have another 10,000 I could take, or I could just upgrade to a 20,000, and in that 8 days I would never need this. So I just don't know that I'm gonna stick with this. I may try it on a couple more trips, I'm not sure, but so far I'm not too impressed. I would rather just carry a larger battery pack. So there's that, and that was all in the front pocket. I also kept my little bag with my stakes for my tarp in the front, so easy access. I get my tarp up, get it staked out before my hammock ever even comes out of the pack, so I can, if it's raining, I can get underneath that tarp, set up my hammock, and everything stays dry. Get my down out, get that fluffed out and fluffed up and set up. And I love this setup. It works great for me. On this pack, I'm absolutely loving this pack. It rode comfortably, no issues whatsoever. All my gear was inside other than what I stashed outside, and my 8 days worth of food fit right inside as well. No issues for room, so I easily fit 8 to 10 days worth of food, and all my gear that I need. The only other thing, my down quilts are good down to 20 degrees. The only thing I'd have to add to comfortably be down to 20 degree on 20-degree trips would be to add a down or synthetic puffy, which would easily fit in there as well. So also on the outside of the pack, I'm running this Z-Packs water bottle holder. This thing is awesome. I highly recommend it. It works great. I just have a 1 liter Life water bottle in there, and then having this little, it slides in there very easy when you're wearing the pack, and then having that little band to flip over it, so you don't have to worry if you're bending over or whatever. It stays put, doesn't go anywhere. No complaints about this whatsoever. It works awesome. I did carry my Garmin InReach Mini because a lot of the areas we were in, there was no service, and this way I could message my wife just saying we were at camp, we're all set up, we're good to go, or we're out on the trail, we're fine. And yeah, so about probably half or more of the time we had no service, so it was great having that. And I just keep my whistle mounted to that, so this is basically just my emergency setup here. I keep this bandana mounted on the outside just for wiping sweat off my head, or if I want to dip it in water, I can wrap it around my neck, my head, whatsoever, whatever I want to do, and that works great. Over here, I keep my poop kit, quick, easy access. Wet wipes, toilet paper, a little one of the lightweight, light load towels, my trowel, and I have a water bottle designated for. I've been testing out a portable bidet system. Seemed to work pretty good. It cuts down, and may even be able to get away with not having to carry any toilet paper or wet wipes. But at the very least, it minimized that usage, and that setup worked great. It's what I was using with that it was a 700 milliliter smart water bottle, and we were always near water, so I just carried it empty and then filled it up whenever I needed to use it, because we had plenty of water available. Set these off. On the other pocket, outside pocket, I carried my Grail water filter. I've never had an issue with this until this trip. It was my mistake. I put a brand new filter on it, and the filter was bad from the start. normally on my original filter it lasted a year and a half, and it would have lasted longer, except I had left my bottle full of water from a trip for, it was sitting full for probably a month or so, so I just didn't want, I took it apart, threw that filter out and cleaned it because I didn't want to chance it. Put a new filter on and hadn't gotten a chance to test it before going, and the presses were taking 3 to 5 minutes per press, and so I'm still in contact with them. I have some other new filters. I'm going to test them all before I contact Grail. I loved them up to this point, never had an issue, but this was the first time I had a failure, and the guy I was hiking with, his also failed. So I'm hoping that's not going to be a common issue, because I like I said prior, I loved it. I took it on my Arizona trip, and I was out there for a week and did all the filtering for me and my son as well. And yeah, I'm really hoping that that gets fixed and they'll deal with that issue. Because if not, I'll just go back to my Katadyn Be Free. But I love the taste of the water coming out of here. I hope they'll fix that. Anyway, so I carried that there. In the front, I had one of the Z packs. It's a Fupa, and this thing was awesome. I carried my bug spray in here. I carried any of my snacks and my lunch for the day. That way I didn't have to get into my pack. I had my map in a Ziploc bag to keep it safe from rain, and I had my fishing license just in case. I did carry a fishing kit because some of the ponds we were at, and that was it in there. But it was nice to have easy access to food so I could just keep hiking while I ate. The other thing I loved about this pack is the mesh back allows airflow, so just, you know, my back wasn't soaked every time we got to camp, which was awesome. I can't say enough. I love this pack. It was an awesome pack, very comfortable again. You know, the hip belt, everything was great. It's I think the specs, it's just slightly over 2 pounds if I remember right, maybe 3. I'll have to look that up, but it worked great. It did everything I needed it to do. In the top here, I have my little electronics kit. My battery pack was in here, the cord to charge the InReach, the cord to charge my iPhone, and the cord to connect the battery pack to the solar panel. So that was all in there, and that's in a Dyneema pouch from Z-Packs. And then I had my first aid kit in another pouch from Z-Packs, Dyneema, keep it safe from water. Never had to get into this for anything, which was awesome. One of the few things I didn't use on the trip. And I did carry a belt knife. Most trips I normally wouldn't bother, unless it's just a short bushcraft style camping trip. But I carried it just in case we did catch fish and we were processing them down. And so that's why I carried that. More weight that I could have shed if I hadn't, but it was there if I needed it. So I did carry a small fishing kit. My lures that I carried, small pack, and then my pen rod fishing pole with telescopic fishing pole with reel with braided fishing line. I think I only fished once. My friend fished a couple times. He caught a couple small fish, nothing worth cooking. And we missed a few ponds that would have been better for fishing. I still would have carried it. I had fun, you know, just hanging out, fishing one of the nights. And it was all I needed. It wasn't anything, it wasn't overkill, but it wasn't a bear to carry. And that was it for the top. Getting inside, so the pack was fuller with the food. Obviously the food's all gone. I carried 2 days worth of food with fit in a gallon Ziploc bag, freezer Ziploc bag, and then that all fit within my bear bag. Now on top, I carried my Go Light windbreakers, which is water resistant. I wore it the one day when it was raining, and it did plenty fine. Works good. And then I had my Z-Packs large bear bag. And that's what I carried all my food in. After a couple days worth of food was gone, I started just keeping my cook kit right in there as well, just to be safe. But honestly, we never saw any signs of bear, deer. We were really shocked. No scat, no prints. There was one spot we saw a couple deer prints, but we never saw anything. The wildlife we saw, frogs. We saw a huge rabbit came into our camp the last night. These little mice that were like kangaroos hopping at one of our sites. But we hung our food every night. Basically, keep it away from rodents, keep it away from raccoons, things like that. Titanium cook kit. It's 1100 milliliter and 650 milliliter cup. I'll shoot a video going fully in depth into it. There's a small titanium folding spoon that I keep in there just as a backup in case I lose my large one. With a small light load rag for wiping the pots out, and lighter. And then the fuel's on top, and it's all in a Dyneema bag. And then I have my large titanium spoon that goes with that, and the small bag with the bear line. I also kept my camp soap in here, and my toothpaste, toothbrush, and just eye drops. Just anything with scent I tried to keep in the bear bag. And that full, it was pushing it, putting the 8 days in there because they were already prepackaged. But if I had unpackaged them and put everything in there, I could fit a few more days worth. I just like having everything organized so it's easier to pull out each day's food. So that was that. And then on top of that, or right below the bear bag, is my hammock. So I get my tarp set up, then I'm able to pull my bear bag out, and then pull my tarp out, or my hammock out. And this is a Dream Hammock Thunderbird. They don't make this model anymore, but they make similar models. Love it, very comfortable. Sleep better in this than I do my own bed. And then below that is my Diddy Bag. This just has my glasses, my headlamp, extra batteries, a good compass, let's see, just trying to think. I know I had a couple other things in there. It's an Osprey 3 liter. It's more than I need, but in case, for larger trips. Yeah, I guess that is it. There's some more. Oh, my multi-tools in there. It's a SOG Power Lock EOD. Honestly, I use this every day between cutting my some of my meals open, using the needle nose to pick up pots off the fire, whatever. This honestly is all I need. I could probably get away with cleaning fish with the blade that comes with this. So I don't think I'll probably bother with a belt knife even if I'm fishing again. I'll just stick with this. And that was all in this Diddy Bag. And then on the bottom here is my down quilts. They both fit in here. My underquilt and my overquilt are stuffed into this Osprey 20 liter dry bag. and you know, it works great. Stuff's down perfect, no issues whatsoever. I have a hammock gear down pillow as well that's in the bottom of that. And just to be safe, I do carry a towel. I swam a couple of the days, so it works great. But in case of rain, what I do when I'm pushing it down in the pack is, you know, I just wrap the dry bag like this, and you can see it's dirty from the camp, and then shove this down in the pack like that, just to give the down some extra protection. I just, you know, you don't want to take any chances with that stuff getting damp or wet. Part of the reason I'm going to go to a Dyneema pack cover, just it weighs like 30 ounces or 30 grams, and that way I won't have to worry about, you know, this stuff getting wet, especially when you're setting your pack down to take a break or whatever, or you're sitting on a rock. If the pack's touching it and it's, you know, there's puddles there, you got to worry about it getting up through the bottom of the pack. With the pack cover, I won't have to worry about it, and then plus with this wrapped around, it just added protection. And then I have a Diddy bag with all my extra clothing. This was in there, but I wore it the last day out because it was like 45 degrees when we left camp that morning, so I just wore it. It's a first light merino wool midweight base layer. This thing is awesome. It has a hood, so it's yeah, I wear it all the time. It's awesome. But it wasn't here, and what I was doing was that with smart wool bottom base layers. That I'd wear those two together to bed at night, and between that and my down, I was never cold. Honestly, I was too warm most nights. I brought a thick pair of socks to wear around camp and to wear to bed, and I never needed them. I ended up not using them. I did use them the last day to wear around camp because my socks were wet from that day hiking through all the beaver dams. So I just put them on because it was windy and cold when we got into camp, but I took them off when I went to bed. And most nights I wasn't even covered with my top quilt. My down is overkill for this time of year, but I don't have the money to spend on another set of like 40 degree or 60 degree down, at least at this point. So I just use what I have. You know, it works, and it's not that heavy compared to like a synthetic sleeping bag. I also carried in here a merino wool lightweight beanie to wear to bed, which again, I didn't need to use that. I had a pair of, let's see, I had an extra pair of boxer briefs, carried a lightweight pair of shorts, or sorry, the long johns are the Omni wool, not smart wool. They work awesome. Lightweight shorts. I could wear them over the long johns, or the bottoms around camp, and then I also swam in these, and they dry quick. These were the thick wool socks I had, but I wouldn't bother carrying them again. I just, unless it's winter, it's just not worth it. And this shirt I was actually wearing the whole time until the last day when I wore that wool, lightweight wool, or the midweight wool pullover. I did have an extra pair of liner socks and Darn Tough socks in here that I ended up, switching out halfway through the week. I wore Fall Raven Vita Pro pants, which are, they worked all right. The only thing I don't like is they don't have as much flexibility for long distance stepping or when you're hiking up hills and stuff. So I don't know that I'd wear them again on a long hike like that, but they worked great. I mean, otherwise, and they're covered in mud, but they're no worse for the wear. I wore the Nike dry fit shirt a pair of sock liners, and they're a silk sock liner with darn tough socks over that with my Keens. I've never had an issue with blisters ever, no matter how long I've hiked with that, and even with wet feet. I'll always wear those silk liners or something similar, because it just, it takes all that wear off your feet and you don't have to worry about blisters. I have blister stuff in my first aid kit, but I never have to use it. I usually am giving it to other people to use. Trying to think, I think that's pretty much, oh yeah, here's the sock liners that I use. So I wore these, are still nasty from the beaver dam. I got to get them washed. So I wore these darn tough socks over the sock liners, and then I had an extra pair of darn tough socks and an extra pair of sock liners in there, which I think is all I would carry next time. I wouldn't bother, again, like I said, with these socks for around camp. And that is it for that. The pack works great. Everything I could easily, like I said in the beginning of the video, I could easily get down to 20-degree temps between the down, and all I would have to add is a puffy and jacket, and I would be good to go. And in those 8 days of food, all my packaging fit in this quart bag. So all these people that have so much trouble carrying out their wrappers, I just can't understand. To me, that's just plain laziness, and they're destroying the wilderness for the rest of us. There's no reason you can't carry out your wrappers or empty bottles or any of that, in my opinion. You're destroying the public lands. Anyway, so I think that is it. Again, all said and done, the only thing I would change is the rain jacket with a pack cover, and I wouldn't bother carrying the belt knife. We had a fire every night. Whether it rained all day or not, we were able to get a fire going, but never had to use our knives to do it. My buddy brought a folding saw that was ridiculously light. It was all aluminum frame, so we cut all our firewood with that, and it was awesome. Worked out great. It was an awesome trip. I think I'll post a video reviewing all this, or showing you all this, but then I may do a second video that includes pictures and video of our trip. It was absolutely beautiful. We were up in the Adirondacks, up near Cranberry Lake, and we had an absolutely awesome time. It was bittersweet the last day coming home. We couldn't wait to see our families, but it was tough to leave that beautiful area. When we got near the road, it was kind of weird hearing traffic. After 8 days, we had already gotten used to not having heard the sound of traffic. It had become foreign to us. Every night we went to sleep hearing the frogs and the insects. And one of the nights on the Olmsted Pond, there was a pair of loons that hung out there all night, and they were obviously making their sounds, and between them and the frogs and whatnot, it was just, they lulled us to sleep every night. And it was awesome. So if you have any questions about any of my gear or want more in-depth review on anything, let me know down in the comments section, and I'll try to get to it. I will do a full in-depth review and weights on my cook kit, because I have had a few people ask me about that. And like I said, anything else you have questions about, let me know. Thanks a lot. Have a good one.
I didn't want to be that guy, you know.
Yeah.
I think he was full of crap, honestly, but
No, it's our last day hiking out. All packed up. We're headed out. Just had a beautiful camp. Last day was clear, no rain. Had an awesome time. That's the view we're looking at. It's absolutely beautiful. The sun's trying to mess it up, but I'll add some pictures in. Absolutely beautiful. Again, we had an awesome time, awesome trip. Can't believe it's already over. Can't wait to come back.